So, go ahead and stand up. And just take a moment to notice how your standing posture feels today, this morning. Maybe posture is the wrong word, but your organization over your legs. Organization over your legs. Can you hear me okay? I moved a bit away so I can see you better. Yeah? Okay. And if you were to shift your weight onto one side or the other, which side would you be inclined? No pun intended. Would you tend to gravitate or drift towards? Would you drift towards the right side or towards the left side? And you can sort of, with this inquiry of shifting to one side and to the other, there's a lot of questions we can ask. So what initiates the movement for you of shifting onto one leg or the other? It's an interesting question. So what is it that starts the process? You have the thought, you have the intention, maybe you have a picture. What initiates that movement? Come from your head? Does it come from your pelvis? Does it come from your breath? Does it come from the opposite foot against the ground? Myriad of other things. And which leg is more willing to take the weight? And does that mean that the other leg is more willing to relinquish the weight, or is that a different question altogether? So one leg being willing to take the responsibility and the other leg being happy sometimes, eager even to relinquish the weight. And then if you were to move about, take a few steps this way, a few steps that way, which leg did you lead with? If you're in a very small space, you can just take one step forward and then come back to your standing. Take one step back. And so if there were a side, if you could pick a side to improve, which side would it be that you would like to improve? And then come lie down on your mat. And lie on your back with your legs long, comfortably spread. And just listen to your 5 lines, the lines of your 2 legs, the lines of your arms down by your sides. Are the palms up? Are they down? Are the elbows wider than the hands, or the hands wider than the elbows? Meaning, are the hands further away from your body, or are your elbows further away from your body, or are they in a straight line? If you rolled your head towards one side, towards the other, which side would you choose? Which side moves more freely? And then if you were to lift one leg, just, not even lift it, lift is the wrong word, but just begin the process of getting ready to maybe just barely disengage the heel from the floor, lifting that long line. Which leg, if you Do the right leg a couple of times and move over to the left leg. Which leg feels lighter? Which leg has do you have a clearer image of in relationship to the rest of yourself? And whichever leg feels the lightest to you, could you stand that foot on the floor? Could you bend your knee and stand that foot on the floor with the knee facing the ceiling? And then lift that from the floor just a tiny bit. Can you make it very light? I'm playing with this idea of lightness the last several weeks, which I believe have turned it into months. And then with the same feeling of lightness, could you slide your foot, the sole of your foot, closer to the long leg, and then bring it back to where it started? So it sweeps the floor, it grazes the floor, and then it returns to its standing place and pauses. And you do that a number of times, and there's so many things, so many questions we can ask. Where do you initiate the movement from? Is there any response in your pelvis or your shoulders? Is there any response in your neck or your head? Your ribs? And then pick up the foot a couple more times, very lightly, lightly. Did it get lighter? Did it get heavier? And then could you slide the foot closer to your long leg? And maybe even the inner border of your foot touches the leg, but it doesn't have to. You want to be comfortable. So the sole of the foot is on the floor, and the standing foot is close to the long leg, and you begin to extend that leg away from you. The sole of the foot slides down the floor along the inside of your long leg, and you come back. So the foot stays on the floor, and the foot stays close to or next to or touching the long leg. And just sort of graze down, and notice that at a certain point, the front of the foot, the toes and the ball of the foot will begin to come away from the floor. Just notice when that happens. So what angle is your knee? What angle of bend does it have? When the front of the foot starts to come away from the floor. And then stand your foot in its original place, which may of course be different now. And then slide your foot again, slide your standing foot again over to the long leg, and can you slide it up and around and on top of that leg? And do that a few times. So you're going to move the foot from its starting place, it slides, and then it runs into this log, and then it comes up and over and on top. And on what part of your long leg does the sole of your foot come to rest? Is it on the knee? Is it on the calf? Is it on the thigh? Just notice where your foot comfortably can come to rest. And then the next time your foot is standing on your long leg, begin to slide the foot down, away from you along the long leg, and then back towards you. And then pause and stand your foot again in a comfortable place on the floor. Now, can you again bring your foot to stand on the long leg and pretend that you're going to apply body cream to that leg wherever you can reach, so you can orient your foot. The heel can go to the right, the heel can go to the left. You can feel if you need to shave. It's all around. Where can you even reach to the outside of that leg somehow? What would you need to do with the rest of yourself to, if you didn't have hands, if your hands were somehow, I don't know, not functioning, and you could only apply this cream to your leg, but with the sole of your foot, not with the edge of the foot. This is, you would use the palm of your hand. And then could you consider, with that foot that's stroking along the leg, the long leg, could you consider touching down somewhere on the other side of your long leg, with either the toes or the ball of the foot, or the whole foot might just easily cross over there. It really depends on what's going on in your system. So if it looks like those of you I can see, you're easily standing your foot on the other side. So go ahead and start sliding your foot from this crossed over position, sliding the sole of the foot along the floor, away from you and back up. In the easiest, most comfortable way. Notice how you breathe. Notice the orientation of your toes, of your heel. And then let's take a full rest. So uncross that leg and lengthen it down. And just compare. Listen to how the right side of you fits on the floor, the left side, the side of the leg that you were using. How might that have changed? Stand up that same leg again. Stand the foot, and then pick up the foot lightly and bring it to stand on the other side of the long leg. And if that's not possible, then just stand it on the leg. And from this position, can you take your knee to the right and to the left, to the right and to the left, and allow the rest of your system, the rest of you, to support the movement of the knee going over to the right and going over to the left. So the pelvis could roll as you cross the midline, the head can turn, the ribs can move. There's all these things are possible and allowed. So how would you take the knee, sort of swing the knee slowly to the right, to the left, with the foot, with the constraint being that the foot stays in a standing position. The foot stays in a standing position. You can feel the earth, a solid mass underneath the sole of your foot, even though you are turning around it somehow in this very strange configuration. And then pause with that, bring the foot to standing. Notice if it's standing in a new place. Notice where your long leg is. And now can you begin to roll over the heel of the long leg by turning the leg in and out and supporting that movement with the rest of yourself, with the constraint being that the standing foot again stays standing, but the long leg can roll in, it can roll out. You go towards the baby toe, you roll towards the big toe, and by no means do you have to touch the baby toe or the big toe to the floor. But how could you employ your whole self to help the leg roll in a comfortable, easy fashion? And what direction does your head want to, or does your head want to participate? And if so, does it turn with the long leg, or does it turn opposite the direction of the long leg? So you can notice what you do and notice it more fully, and then you can change it and do the opposite. Legs turning in, the legs turning out, pelvis, ribs, the head, the shoulder girdle. How much of yourself is involved? And then pause. And now with your long leg, could you pull the toes back and flex the foot towards you? Pull the foot towards you so the heel is very long and the leg is very straight. And move the leg, keeping the toes up towards the ceiling and the heel down towards the floor. Could you slide the heel of the foot along the floor right and left, like you're sweeping a long stick? And what might you do? What could you do with the rest of yourself, with your head, or with your ribs, or with your pelvis? That might help facilitate the sweeping leg. What does your pelvis do? What does your head want to do? And then pause, rest for a moment. Now, could you get up both your legs, stand both your feet, and interlace your fingers and bring your hands behind your head. Support the back of your head. And can you lazily, lightly begin to fold yourself to the right and to the left so that the right elbow comes down closer to the right side of your waist and the left elbow then comes closer to the left side of the waist, and you're carrying your head in your hands and the hands are sliding to the right and to the left, and you're describing an arc. Upper body is describing an arc. And another constraint would be to keep the knees stable, to keep the knees from waving. So plant your feet and move the upper part of you like a willow, like a willow. The strong trunk and wavy branches. And now could you lengthen down the leg that you have had long and cross the other leg to stand over on the other side of the long leg. And now flex the foot of the long leg and begin to slide the long leg a little right and a little left. So a little away from the foot and back. A little away from the foot and a little back. And if you were to help yourself by carrying your head to the right or to the left, what direction might you do that? So the long leg is like the pendulum of a grandfather clock. And if your head were to roll to the right or to the left as you're carrying it to the right and to the left, which way would the face want to turn? Do you keep it oriented towards the ceiling? Or does it turn one way or the other? And where does this movement begin? What in you is the guiding principle? Where is that? Where in you initiates this long movement? And let's take a rest. And now just check in with the weight of your legs. Just check in with the weight of your legs as at the beginning. You lift one long leg or just barely break contact. How does the rest of you get behind that? And bring your working leg, the leg you've been working with, to standing again. And come to stand on the other side of the long leg. And now can you, from here, flex the long leg, pull the toes back, and turn the leg in and out. So you're going towards the baby toe, and you're going towards the big toe, and the other foot is standing on the floor, or maybe not. But how might you employ more of yourself to help the long leg turn in and out in this little sort of prison that it's in? It's in a very small, doesn't have a lot of room to move. So what other parts of yourself could you employ to turn the leg in and out as you keep the other leg standing, the other sole of the foot on the floor? And now with the foot standing on the floor over on the other side of the long leg, could you begin to bend the long leg and then straighten it out? So begin to bend the long leg and begin to straighten it out. And which direction do you choose to turn your toes toward? Do you bring the little toe close to the floor as you bend the long leg, or do you bring the big toe close to the floor as you bend the long leg? And let's take another rest. Stand up your foot again. Actually, so let's stand up both feet. Let's stand up both feet. And the leg that you have been working with, of course, they've both been working, right? The leg that has been your standing foot, could you cross that leg over the other one, over the leg that has been long, but both knees are bent? So now you're on one foot. The leg that was long is now the standing foot, and the other leg is crossed over it, and you're over your lap. Yeah, over the lap. And from here, could you begin to tilt both your knees a little to the right and a little to the left? A little to the right and a little to the left. And notice which way they go more easily. So do they go more easily towards the leg that's crossed on top? Or do they go more easily towards the leg that's of the foot that's standing? And notice if your head began to participate. And now could you take one of your hands and place it on your forehead? Place the palm of your hand on your forehead and continue tilting your knees to the right and to the left as you roll your head with your hands. So the neck can be completely on vacation, but you're turning. So which way are you turning your head, rolling your head? And notice the relationship of the head to the tilting knees, and now do the opposite. So if you're turning your head away from the tilt, try turning your head with the tilt. And you can try the other hand on the head and feel what difference that makes to have the other arm down by your side, and try tilting the knees and the head together. Try tilting them in opposition and listen to what's happening in between the pelvis and the head. The waist, the ribs, the spine, and this constraint that we have here in the hip joints, in the pelvis. All the other moving parts. And then could you continue tilting your knees, but interlace your fingers and bring them to rest on top of your forehead so that they weight your head down and your head doesn't turn at all. And you're turning the rest of your spine around your head in a very comfortable way. And don't go so far that you're falling. Don't go so far that you can't easily reverse. Easily reverse. And now if you were to interlace your fingers and bring them behind your head, why don't you interlace them non-habitually just for fun, and bring them behind your head and tilt your knees a few more times to the right and to the left. If you were to carry your head to the right or to the left, to slide along the floor, which direction might you go? Beautiful. Untie yourselves and lengthen down your legs. Stand up the foot that you've been working with and cross it over the long leg. And just see how that goes now. Just stand it over there. And now can you bring the arm of the, that's on the same side of your leg that's long on the floor overhead. So you're in one long line from the heel to the fingertips. And if you're uncomfortable for any reason with your arm long, you can put a little pillow or something under the elbow to help support it. And now from here, could you begin to, and with your other arm, the free arm, can you bring it behind your head and support your head? So you're long on one side, and then the other side is supporting your head. And now can you begin to slide, flex the foot of the leg that's long, and start to move it to the right and to the left as you slide your head to the right and to the left, and you can reach, you can lengthen the long side and make yourself into a big banana shape. We have this constraint of a leg moving in a very small space. The foot remains standing. And you're folding to one side, you're folding to the other. What's initiating the movement? Where do you initiate from? How do you breathe? And uncross your leg and take a rest. Stand the leg you've been working with and cross it over the long leg. Stand on the other side and bring the hand that was long behind your head and have the other arm, the same side of the leg that's crossed over, have the palm facing the ceiling. There we go. And now can you begin to roll your long leg to the inside and to the outside? And as you roll it to the outside, could you begin to bend it? Could you begin to bend it in such a way that the heel of the leg that's bending begins to sweep along the floor towards your hand down by your side. And where might you help yourself with your other arm? Where could you carry your head? How might you turn your head? How might you slide your hand along the floor? And some of you might even be able to caress the sole of your foot, but that's not important. That's not important. It's just a direction. It's not the destination, right? It's the journey we're in. It's the journey that's important. And listen to the shape you're making. Listen to how you initiate the movement, what your back muscles are doing, what your spine needs to do. You want to lengthen your IT band? This is it. But that's just a result. Very nice, very nice. How far you bend the leg is not important. Let's take a rest. One more time, stand up your standing foot, the foot you've been working with, and stand it on the other side of the long leg, and then bring it back. And just feel, has that changed? Has the quality of that action gotten any easier or more possible for you during the lesson? And listen to the rest of yourself. Is it only the leg that moves, or do other parts of yourself respond somehow? And then could you, the next time your foot is standing over there, turn your long leg towards the baby toe and begin to bend it. Begin to bend it until you can bring it to standing. And then there you are, a funny way of bringing your legs crossed with the legs standing. So the leg that's crossed over the long leg just goes for a ride. It just goes for a ride, and you can bend the leg up, and you can bend it down, bend it up, and you can bend it down. And the next time your foot is standing, your legs are crossed, again, tilt them. Tilt the knees to the right and to the left, and listen how the pelvis and the ribs and the head and the shoulder girdle, what do they know about this movement? How do they participate? You feel the interconnectedness, the back of your head, and how it relates to the back of your pelvis. going on in the shoulders, shoulder blades. How do you use the floor? Okay, bring it to a place of stillness, then uncross your leg and lengthen your legs down, however you choose to do that, and rest. And roll your head from side to side. Sense how everything fits on the floor. And come to that place, we played with it a few weeks ago, that place that's neither right nor left in yourself. Just can you rest in that place that's neither right nor left? And then if you were to lift one leg away from the floor, which one would it be? And how do you move your intention and your awareness and turn that into an action on that side? And if you've been bending the legs, keep the legs straight and lift a long leg, just, but barely break contact. Barely break contact. So is the leg that was lighter to begin with lighter still? Did the other side get heavier? Did the other side get lighter? Just notice what changed for you. And then bring yourself up to standing. Roll to your side and bring yourself up to standing. Revolt of the electronic devices.
Everything happens all at once.
So now feel how you're standing. Feel how your pillars of support, the leg that you worked with. So did you work with the side that you wanted to improve, or did you work with the other side? Did both sides improve? And if you were to shift your leg, shift your weight to one side to the other, how do the legs now take the responsibility? How do you initiate the movement? If you were to take a step, but not take a step, but if you were thinking about taking a step forward, which leg would you free up? And which leg would it be that would be the leading leg? Is that the leg you worked with, or was that your long leg? Do you grow taller as you shift over onto the supporting leg, or do you sink closer into the ground? And play with the other side. You free up the leg as though to take a step, but you don't take a step. You can go back, you can reverse. go for an exploratory ramble about your room. How does that side that was long on the floor, how does it support you now?